You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion, delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots, you know, the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest.
Welcome back.
You didn't get the Cotter treatment last time.
No, I like that. That's good.
Welcome back, Chip Allsweed, AAOC, Apartment Association, Orange County.
That is correct.
Welcome. Let me remind you, if you ever have any more finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Well, I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money. I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And of course, we're celebrating today. What are we celebrating? There's a lot to celebrate today. But I don't know why they do these in this order, but the National Cinnamon Bun Day. They saved the best for last on here. So National Cinnamon Bun Day. Oh, let's see what else we've got. Pumpkin Seed Day. National Walk to School Day. Does anybody walk to school anymore? I know I watch my nieces. They don't walk to school. I know, Josh, you take your kids to school every day, right? Josh takes his kids to school. No one walks to school anymore. I don't know. That's old story. Golf Lovers Day. Okay, not for a guy with bad knees. That doesn't work too well. The next two go together, though. National Vodka Day. What's your favorite vodka? Belvedere? Chopin? You know, the problem is I know too much about vodka. That might be a little bit of a problem. But vodka martini, 3 blue cheese olives. That's just the way to do it. And you won't even care where you go get tacos after that, because today is also National Taco Day. And we shouldn't walk away from this one because I almost did. First Wednesday in October is National Coffee with a Cop Day. Coffee with a Cop Day. I like that one. And being that we're talking about coffee with a cop, how about Anaheim Confidential coming up October 13th? That's when Anaheim raises money. The Anaheim Cops for Kids. They raise money, and it's a great, great fundraiser. It's a great event. Think about this one. If you ever watch the news, and why would you anymore? But if you ever watch the news, you're actually hearing about different events that go on. Well, this happens at the Anaheim Confidential. They actually talk about a very high-profile homicide in the city of Anaheim, and the detectives that solved the case walked through from start to finish what it was like to solve the case. Anaheim Confidential, October 13th. Go to AnaheimConfidential.com. You can get tickets right there from them. Love that event. It's a great event. Let's see what the markets are doing today. Dow Jones Industrial Average now up 66 points. S&P 500 up 1972. The NASDAQ is up 125. Oil down $3.76 a barrel. Little bit of good news coming out of OPEC Plus, just saying that they're not going to reduce production. And there is a chart floating around. Yes, I have no life, so I do watch these things. That shows the futures of gasoline. Now, when we talk about oil, that's not gasoline futures. That's oil. That's the West Texas crude. down $3.73 a barrel. But the prices of the futures on gasoline have been actually going down, which is nice. So maybe we'll get a little bit of relief in gasoline prices, but we are in California. So actually, I guess gas prices in California down a little bit also. $5.98. Who would think that's down? That is the current average for California. Yesterday it was $6.02. A year ago it was $6.41. Ooh.
Ow!
Yeah, let's take a look and see though. Josh, you're over there at 507. You went up a bit. You were down in the high fours for quite a while. And we don't even want to talk. I love our underwriter. We got a great underwriter. And I'm envious every time because we look at her gas prices. $3.30 a gallon she's paying for gasoline in Louisiana. Let's see. I don't know. Should we talk about Florida? Being that we've got the loser from Florida was all over the news last night. You could tell that I'm not a fan of Matt Gaetz. It's a family show, so I can't say that. But the bottom line, what chaos did this character cause? 8 House Republicans control the other 200. So now we get the week of doing absolutely nothing because they're all on hiatus until next Wednesday. Thanks, Mr. Gaetz. You did great. Unreal listening to these morons. Unbelievable. And obviously, we're in California, so we know that the Democrats did not vote in any way. So basically 8 Republicans join all of the Democrats. How's that sound? I wonder if Mr. Gaetz will use that in his re-election, being in Congress, and they get re-elected every 2 years. I wonder if he'll be going out talking about, I joined the Democrats to get rid of Speaker McCarthy. Think that's going to be his slogan? I wonder if somebody runs against him, maybe that will be their slogan. A vote for Matt. A vote for the Democrats. I just throw that out there.
It is what it is.
What else is going on in the world? So we talked about gas prices. We're watching inflation numbers, still not good, although we did get the ADP jobs report today. And it's one of those things right now when we're looking at interest rates and we look at mortgage rates, bad is good and good is bad. So we only had 89,000 new jobs created in the ADP report. That's not good, but it's helping mortgage rates today. Try and figure that one out. Now, will the day end that way? We'll see. It's been holding up so far this morning, so we'll see what happens on that one. But, it's a bit of chaos out there. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, we got a workshop we're going to talk about. What do builders do to hold prices that we don't do on the resale side of housing? We're going to talk about that. Home prices are not falling. We're going to talk about that. And talking about lunatics, we'll talk about the Santa Ana City Council. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is, you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit RonSiegelRadio.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender. Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you could retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit RSRNoDebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit RSRNoDebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. RSRNoDebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. RSRNoDebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to RSRNoDebt.com. RSRNoDebt.com.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at RonSiegelRadio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. Make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Investors, there's programs out there that let the property qualify for the loan. Give me a call. I'll tell you about it. Every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 42% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. What are rates doing today? And I'm actually pulling up another chart here that I don't usually use right now, but 30-year conforming loan, 7.595. That was up quite a bit yesterday. The 30-year jumbo, 7.952. That was up a lot. 30-year FHA, 7.285. That one was up. 30-year USDA loan, rural areas, generally no down payment. That was up, 7.388. Best loan on the market, I'm sorry to report, that one was up also. That would be the VA loan. You know, I love our veterans. That one's 7.167. That was up. Now, what am I looking at here right now that I don't generally report on is the Mortgage Bankers Association actually came out with their numbers. They release those in the morning, every Wednesday morning. I'm trying to find the exact number here. Is the applications down 22%, refinances down 7%, interest rates increased to about 7.5%. What did I just say that they were at is on Optimal Blue or OBMMI? 7.595. is what the locks were yesterday. If you want to get our report every morning, we put it out as early as we can. Go to rsrmarketminute.com. rsrmarketminute.com. You can actually get our report. We email that out early as we can get the data for it each morning. You can't do it in advance because it's real-time data. So some of the information wasn't even coming out until 7 o'clock our time today. So you can't get it out too early. But let's take a look and see what's going on in the markets right now. The S&P 500 is up 21 points. 10-year Treasury down 7 basis points to 4.7. It's changing on me. 4.74. And we've got the mortgage-backed securities. They're up 32 basis points. Remember, when the bond goes up, rates go down. It's mathematics. So that one there is up 32 basis points is what we're watching on the mortgage-backed securities. Why? Well, as I mentioned a little bit in the opening segment, we got the September ADP employment report showed that there were 89,000 jobs created, weaker than the 153,000 expected. The August report was revised slightly higher from 177,000 to 180,000. Almost all of the jobs came from the service sector, which added 81,000 jobs. Leisure and hospitality accounted for most of the gains, which added 92,000 jobs. Little quick math there. Then if you look at the professional and business sector, that fell 32,000. So interesting. After we look at yesterday's JOLTS report, the job opening and labor transition report was the largest. Showed that professional and business services had the most job openings in that report. Large businesses lost 83,000 jobs. Small and medium businesses hired 95,000 and 72,000. Just to make it clear for you, ADP says if you've got a job, if you're on payroll, then you've got a job. So those people that are on strike, they're not unemployed. They still have a job. So that doesn't really filter in there. They also reported that annual pay for job stayers increased 5.9% year over year, which was unchanged from August. Job changers saw an average increase at 9%, down from 9.5%. While the figures are still high, they've been moving lower and showing lower wage-pressured inflation each of the last 15 months and are at their lowest level in almost 2 years. They've cooled considerably from the highs of 8% on stayers and 16% on switchers last year. Average income, average hourly wages, $17 an hour. Wonder how that election went. Yes, I don't even think I looked at it yesterday to see Measure A in Anaheim to see if they've come out with the report yet.
It went down pretty solidly.
Good.
It was down 2/3 to 1/3 vote, and the updates were only coming in marginally different. So the big chunk was it went down.
Good. And that should go down. I'll talk about that later. But now glad Anaheim's Measure A defeated again. Wonder how many more. And I wonder how much that cost us to have the election for one item when we could have waited 4 months and added it to the reports. That's the Mortgage Minute brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So Measure A would have been a big harm, no different than what the governor did when he raised minimum wage for fast food workers to $20 an hour. Can you say kiosks, boys and girls? So what's that going to do to unemployment when we already saw that unemployment in California is already up to 4.6% when the national average, or when it was at 3.8 in California? Just throw that out there. But on another measure of hurting the citizenry, we're going to chat with Chip Allsweet, Apartment Association of Orange County. He's out there advocating to help people. And in Santa Ana, the city council, I'm not going to say exactly what I'm thinking because, again, it is a family show. Give us a rundown, Chip. I know you were here a few months ago talking about how the city council's trying on the auspices of helping people. They're really going to do a lot of harm.
That is exactly what our message was that at the time, and that was more predictive than anything. And now we're in the actual application period where they rolled out their rent registry, and most cities that have some form of rent control will implement a registry where a landlord has to put all of the information about their tenants and the leases into some sort of a registry. However, typically what happens is it's just information about the lease, so they know whether or not the rates were compliant with their rent control regulations there. City of Santa Ana decided.
So back that up a little bit.
Sure.
So when you say they just put in, so they say 123 Main Street, I'm renting out for $1,000.
More or less, typically,
Okay.
or they'll add in maybe last time I raised it $100.
Okay.
So they know roughly what the situation is with each lease.
And in that instance, my guess, and I'll let you get to this, but okay, 123 Main Street rents for $100. I raised it $50 last time without rent control, and now with rent control, I raised it $300.
Typically, what we are seeing is that anybody that has a rent controlled unit, yeah, they will raise it to the absolute maximum that they can, because the ability for you to catch up later on, if you don't, means that you're losing value in your property, means that you're losing value in your rents, it means your cap rate's down. I mean, you name it, everything falls apart when you don't go to the maximum amount. And yeah, everybody in Santa Ana is raising the rents the maximum they can now.
So 2 questions that come up there. Number one, why do they why do they want to hurt the renters? And why would an investor want to buy in Santa Ana?
I'll answer the second question first. Why would a renter why would an investor want to buy in Santa Ana? You may be in a position where we are going to see a turnaround because we have a council that is divided on this policy. They're jamming things through at the last minute, and we are in the middle of seeing a recall on one of those council members that's jamming this stuff through.
Good.
So you may be able to pick up a deal, but look
wait,
closely.
Pick up a deal translates to values dropping.
Values are absolutely dropping. Most investors are not even looking at Santa Ana. When I talk to brokers, they say they don't even want to look at it.
Kind of like Los Angeles.
Exactly like Los Angeles.
Right?
Yeah.
Why would you want to be a landlord in Los Angeles? So what else are they trying to jam through here other than just that? And I'm not sure there's a problem with saying, okay, what is it renting for and what was the last increase, as long as there's not a rent control on there.
I don't think the government needs that information.
That's true for sure.
So
right, what value are they getting out of that?
What they're able to do with that is they're able to figure out whether or not the rents are raising faster than this is what the city will say, faster than they should be, according to them. However, what they did with this is they rolled it out and they sent it to every property owner, whether you're a landlord or not, if you don't claim a homeowner's exemption. Then they asked you to come back and prove that you're not a landlord if you're not a landlord.
Prove a negative. That's a good one.
Exactly. That always works out well,
Yeah.
So that was the first thing they did. So you've got a lot of people that maybe they have a Mills Act property, a historic preservation, that they're not claiming a homeowner's exemption. Maybe it's a second home. They're not claiming a homeowner's exemption. Maybe they've got a family member living there. We actually know of one person who had 2 vacant lots that are zoned single family that got the letter to prove that they're not renting out the vacant lot.
Can I put a Coleman on there?
I think you probably
Coleman
could.
Temps here there. Okay.
So
it's crazy.
Yeah. So the city didn't even think this through when they launched it. But then when they launched
now wait a second. The city didn't think it through when they launched it.
Surprise.
That's a little shocking. You're absolutely right. But on top of that, they decided to go beyond what a typical rent registry asks for, information about the lease itself, the lease rate. They want copies of the lease. They want copies of all notices of the lease. They want the names of everybody that's living in the unit, whether they're on the lease or not, which creates a problem we'll talk about in a minute. They want to know the contact information for everybody in there, their email, their phone number. So now you got a database with all the contact information. Goodbye your privacy rights.
Yeah, there's never been a breach of contact information of any of these places. They're all ultra secure.
Absolutely. And
they want their social security numbers too?
I'm surprised that they haven't asked for that, because they actually did ask also for what language do these people speak, which is a gross violation of the Fair Housing Act.
Right. I mean, the irony there, Chip, is that I kind of laugh because, as you know, I lead a lending team, and one of the later sections of the mortgage application says, ethnicity and language and male, female, age, all this stuff. I mean, wait a second. We can't use any of that, but we got to collect all that data. Doesn't that just kind of seem a little backwards?
It certainly does. And in your instance, that's for an individual application.
Right.
They want a complete list of everybody in the city that's renting a piece of property, whether they're on the lease or not. They want to know how to get a hold of them and what language they speak, which any government agency that pulls that data, ICE could come in and say, oh, here's a probability of anybody that may or may not have legal status, and here's how we get a hold of them.
Why would somebody even want to give that information? We're going to continue our conversation with Chip Allsweed when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. Home prices not falling. We'll talk about it. What do builders know and do that the average home seller doesn't? We'll talk about that as well. You can reach me anytime off air, number 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you could retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and I will be delivering every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Borrow Smart segment brought to you by RSRStudentLoanHelp.com, RSRStudentLoanHelp.com. We have a little bit of a workshop in here. What do builders know and do that home resellers don't? Let's chat about that a little bit, because we talk about this in various areas on Ron Siegel Radio. And I want to do this one a little bit, and we've got a chart here that I'm going to show you. Builders will go out and they need to maintain their pricing on a property. Hypothetical price, they've gone out there and they've said, we're going to sell this project in these properties, and whatever the numbers are. I just used $1 million. Well, if the properties don't sell, or if the market changes, because they set that price a couple of years before they ever go to market, Well, what if the market changes in a way it doesn't follow exactly what they've been looking for? Well, what they do is they use tools other than price to get their properties sold. So they've got this property, they've got $1 million price tag on it. What do they do to keep that $1 million? Well, they may give better flooring. Maybe they're going to give better appliances. Maybe they'll give a credit for window coverings, wall coverings, hardscape, landscape, any of those things. But sometimes what they do, and many times, is they go and they say, we're going to give you a concession to help more people afford the property. How does that work? So let's take a look at the $1 million property, $800,000 loan amount. Don't worry about what I tell you is interest rate, because I don't know what you're going to qualify for. I don't know what rates are going to do beyond the next 5 minutes. I'm not even sure what they're going to do in the next 5 minutes. But I'm just going to say, okay, what if rates are at 8 1/8 right now? 8.414 is the APR for those compliance people who are listening and always trying to catch us. That gives you a payment, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, $71,4832 a month with $228,000 to close. Now, in some instances, what does the consumer do if they're reselling? Well, what they do is they say, okay, I'm going to take it and I'm just going to reduce the price, $50,000. The norm is 2 to 6% in the state of California. I just used $50,000 because it's simple. Loan amount goes down to $760,000. We keep the interest rate the same, 8.125. Again, an 8.42 is the APR. The payment dropped $357. That's a little bit of help, right? That's a $67.90 payment, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And you save a little bit of money on the cash to close because you did drop that price to $217,000. What would the builder do? He would say, I'm not going to do a $50,000 price drop. I'm going to do a $50,000 interest rate buy down. I'm going to help with the payments. Now, it has to be done the right way. If it's not on the contract properly, it will trigger high cost and predatory lending violations. We don't like that. So we know how to do it the right way. Get us involved early. Bring the pricing back up to $1 million. Same 20% down, $800,000 loan. But using that $50,000 will get us down to a 6.625 interest rate. 6.625. We like that idea. 6.708 is the APR, again, for the compliance people who are listening. That brings our payment down to $6,330. That's an $817 per month savings. That's almost, maybe it is almost $10,000 a year. Think about that one. 10,000 times 10 years. Is that $100,000 in savings? Now, the big question comes up. Okay, Ron, what happens if it doesn't appraise? Well, it's going to appraise because you're still at the same list price. Everyone else is sold at the same price. But what if it doesn't? Well, we've thought about that because we just lower the appraisal. What if it goes only down to $900,000? Keep the loan amount the same. We just manipulate the loan to value in a legal way. Keep the interest rate the same, 6.625. APR 6.708. Payment stays the same, $63,3083. But hey, guess what? In the last two options, our cash to close is down at $213,549, lower than all the others. That's what builders understand that home sellers don't. If you want more information on this, if you've got a house that you're thinking about selling, or you've got listed and it hasn't sold, before you ever do a price reduction, call me and let's explain this scenario and see if it'll work for you. If you've got a great realtor who's marketing the property properly, they can go out there and put it all over the place. This property qualifies for payment assistance, maybe to the tune of $817 a month. What does that do for affordability? How many extra people can qualify for that? That's the Borrow Smart segment brought to you by rsrstudentloanhelp.com, rsrstudentloanhelp.com. Continue our conversation this morning. We're chatting with Chip Allsweed, Apartment Association of Orange County. We're talking about the brainiacs, my word, on the Santa Ana City Council. You know, if I did some of the stuff you do, I'd have even less hair than I have.
You can clearly see that mine's going too, so I got it.
You know, you look about common sense, and you just have to wonder sometimes about some of these people that make the rules and don't realize that, you know, the investors out there to try and make a return on investment, and they're never ever going to raise the rent too much, because then they're going to have the vacancy too long.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, they're only going to go to what the market allows.
Exactly. It's interesting you bring up the point of they're only going to go for what they can recoup. I think we may have mentioned last time that we're in the process of suing the city over it, because in the California Constitution, you actually have a right to a reasonable rate of return, but the city of Santa Ana's rent control indexes it below the rate of inflation. And in doing so, they're violating the California Constitution, which provides that right to a reasonable rate of return. So, yeah, their lack of understanding of not just investors, but the state laws around investing is clearly a problem.
So if you prevail, then what happens at that point? Because you can't go back and charge those people the difference. You know, the renters the difference. So, you know, the landlords, the investors, they're the ones that have the harm. So is there going to go back after the city for the difference?
So there are actually, I believe it's 2 different lawsuits against the city on that element itself, and they will be going back for that. Now, as far as ours, no, it resets it back to the way it should be, which is comply with the state law. So that's our goal. That's down the road. I mean, you know how long court takes.
Yeah.
So we're looking at,
unless you're running for president. If you run for president, then it goes a little quicker.
Yes, it does.
But that's a whole different story. So it's going to be years that could be.
I don't think it'll be that long. Most recent move was that the judge asked us to go to mediation, which I appreciate that they're trying to keep things out of the court. At the same time, I don't know what mediation there is to have here. We don't want the rent control law. The city does. So our goal is to try to get it out that way. Additionally, we're also trying to get new council members in to change that. There is a recall election on one of the 3 council members currently.
There's only 3 members in Santa Ana.
There's a total of 7 council members. There's 3 that are on our side.
Oh, okay.
And it's the mayor, Mayor Mesquith. She's been phenomenal to work with, very open and connective. Same with both Phil Becerra and great, now I'm blanking quickly. David Penaloza. I'm sorry. Great people to work with. They're responsive anytime we reach out. I have reached out consistently to the other side. They don't have time for us ever, which is surprising.
Yeah.
So
especially in Santa Ana, even though, and I don't know if it still is, I haven't looked lately, but Santa Ana used to have the highest median home prices in all of Orange County.
I would believe that, yeah.
You know, so there's the definite haves and have-nots in Santa Ana.
There definitely is that. And interestingly enough, the council member being recalled is from the have side, who has not represented her constituency at all in this situation.
Yeah, and you look at it and you start saying, okay, there's a lot of renters in Santa Ana in certain areas that are just, you know, it's all high density areas.
Absolutely.
And, you know, you would think that you'd want to be looking out for the benefit of those people. And by rent control always means that rents are higher than, you know, what they should be.
That's definitely the case in Santa Ana. We have plenty of our members who've reached out and said, well, I'm raising my rent for the first time in 5 years or something like that, which as a business practice probably isn't the strongest, but as a understanding your clients is a way you would want the relationship to work. They understand that their tenants cannot afford more, but they're able to make their business work. The city completely ignored that and didn't recognize that the impact will be there for every single renter.
Yeah, that's it's kind of interesting because when my family had rentals, we used to go on the philosophy that, you know, keep the property rented And if you stay below market value and don't, in many instances, my mom never even believed in raising rents. Sure, her comment used to be, if I don't hear from you, you don't hear from me.
It's a better relationship all around. And you're right. Keep it rented. That's the main business model here for every single mom and pop as well as corporate.
Well, think about it. I mean, just straight math. If you've got a $2,000 rental and you raise the rent $100, 5%, not outrageous. But if it goes vacant for 1 month, it's going to take you almost 2 years to recoup.
Absolutely.
Right? So why would you want it vacant at all? We're going to continue our conversation about these lunatics on the City Council of Santa Ana. My words, not Chip's. We're going to talk about that when we come back. Maybe we'll talk about what just happened with Redfin. We'll see if we have time for that. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-T90, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We will be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender. Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you could retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis, rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com. Are you tired of paying rent? Are you tired of paying someone else's mortgage? Do you know qualified folks can potentially purchase a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket? Ron Siegel can help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. If you're tired of paying someone else's mortgage, reach out to Ron today at RonIsMyLender.com. That's RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Home prices are not falling. That's our subject. During the fourth quarter of last year, some housing experts projected home prices were going to crash in 2023. The media ran those forecasts and put out headlines calling for doom and gloom in the housing market. All of this negative news coverage made a lot of people have doubts about the strength of the residential real estate market. If it made you question if you should delay your own plans to move, here's what you really need to know. Home prices never crashed. Disregard what you saw in the headlines. The actual data shows home prices were remarkably resilient and performed far better than the media would have you believe. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials, the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you are seeing a chart with the percentage of in home value changes, percent change in home values. And we did it based on Zillow's findings, Black Knight's findings, Freddie Mac's findings. The graph uses reports from three trusted sources to clearly illustrate that prices have already rebounded after experiencing only slight declines nationally. Far cry from the crash so many articles called for. The declines that happened, if you're looking again, shown in red, were not drastic, but were short-lived. As Nicole Friedman, a reporter at the Wall Street Journal, says, quote, home prices aren't falling anymore. The surprisingly quick recovery suggests that the residential real estate downturn is turning out to be shorter and shallower than many housing economists expected, unquote. Even though some media coverage made a big deal about home prices pulling back, the slight correction that happened is already in the rear view mirror. Basically, this data shows your home prices are not falling anymore. They're actually going up. What's the next for home prices? The consensus from experts is that home price growth will continue in the years ahead and is returning to normal levels for the market. That means we'll still see home prices appreciating, just at a slower pace than the last few years. And that's a good thing. Some news sources will see home price growth slowing and put out stories that make you think prices are falling again. The return of misleading headlines, like those already having an impact on how home buyers are feeling again, you can see how this affects general opinion. And the Consumer Confidence Survey from Fannie Mae. Again, we've got a graph. The percentage of Americans who think home prices will go down over the next 12 months. 26%, that's all. In January, it's 37%. While the percentage of Americans who think prices will fall has been slowly declining this year, the latest consumer confidence data indicates that ticked back up recently. This change is surprising, especially since the home price data shows prices are going up, not down. It tells you the impact the media still has on public opinion. Isn't that a surprise? Don't fall for the negative headlines and become part of this statistic. Remember, data from a number of sources shows home prices are not falling. Hello, Chapman University. Bottom line, even though the media may make things sound doom and gloom, the data shows home prices are not falling anymore. So don't let the headlines scare you or delay your plans. Let's connect, and I'll get you the real information for your area. We can chat about that. That's the real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Continuing our conversation this morning, chatting with Chip Allswede, Apartment Association of Orange County, and we're chatting about Santa Ana. So, Chip, tell me a little bit about they've got this recall going. Is that going to help, hurt? What do you think is going to what's going to be the outcome with that?
I think it's going to help a great deal. And earlier in this show, you mentioned it's National Have a Coffee with a Cop Day.
Yes.
In Santa Ana, that's definitely the case because it was the police officers who first brought this recall forward and qualified it and said they've had enough of people being permissive of the crime in town, allowing things to happen, the drunkenness, the homelessness, the vagrancy, the drug use, all of that. And they said, this is enough. We need to get rid of the people who are supporting this. And in Ward 3, Jessie Lopez, the mayor pro tem, she was one of the main people driving this permissiveness. And the cops said enough. So definitely have a coffee with a cop in Santa Ana.
Thank him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank him for everything they do every day.
Absolutely what they do every day, because the things that they put up with are astounding.
It's ironic that you say that as far as the recall issue, because I did have an online chat with somebody in the last couple of days. And, Anaheim, in East Anaheim Hills area, they're looking at in a quarter-mile area, doing a 507 unit project to add 507 new homes, and like a quarter of a mile from there, another 400.
Right.
And, some people said, well, it's already a done deal. And I said, well, see how much of a done deal it is if you get somebody to initiate a recall against some of the city council members or the mayor.
That's very true.
See how much of a done deal those things are.
Yeah. And that's why we're actually seeing them scramble to get things passed before she gets recalled.
So it looks like it's going to happen.
Oh, the recall's happening. The ballots drop Friday the 13th,
Okay.
Nice
Same day as
time.
Anaheim Confidential.
Exactly. So it's an all-mail ballot, and everybody will be in Ward 3, which is the northern part of the city. will be getting their ballots that Friday, and they have to get them in by November 14th. We anticipate to be a decent turnout because the signature gathering effort that the police officers did and everything like that really showed there's a lot of dissatisfaction with this council member.
Well, that's an interesting one when you think about it. So if you're out there thinking about somebody comes up to you and asks you to sign a recall petition, and it happens to be a police officer, it's going to carry a little, for somebody like me anyway, that carries a lot more weight than Joe Citizen putting a recall petition in front of you.
Very true. And you know, that would be a police officer that's on duty. They may or may not live in the city, but care enough to come back and volunteer their time because they can't do it while they're in uniform.
Sure.
And
so it's a police officer out of uniform.
A police officer out of uniform asking you to take a look at what they're trying to do to keep your city safe. And this council member has not. This council member has also been a big supporter of the rent control initiatives and all of that kind of stuff.
Which is kind of interesting when you think about it. If they represent North Santa Ana, which the people in North Santa Ana don't want to even be considered Santa Ana. They call themselves North Tustin.
This is more the Floral Park area,
okay.
But yeah, they call themselves Floral Park. So.
Yeah, right. So it's fascinating how that happens. But so that's coming out. The recall ballots are the 13th.
They drop the 13th. The discussion that the council will have on the rent registry will be on the 17th. And somewhere in there, you should be able to take a look at how awful this is for the city and get rid of these people that are doing this. Jessie will be the first one to go, hopefully, because of the way she's treated all of these issues. That would be everybody there, get their ballots in by November 14th. And then November 2024, we can go after 3 of the other council members that are bringing this stuff forward. I'm sorry, 2 of the other council members bringing this stuff forward.
Well, there's a couple of different issues in there that really, to me, that you've highlighted that I don't like. Obviously, I don't like the government controlling money. Right. If it's an individual, let the market control that. But regardless of your situation, whether you're the tenant or the landlord, do I really want the city to know my name and everybody that's in my property and every email of everybody that lives in my house and the phone numbers of everybody in my house and
papers, please?
Yeah.
I mean, it's as invasive as it gets.
Yeah, that's just going way. It's a big government overreach. It might sound more like Venezuela than Santa Ana.
Well,
right, and how many people, and I'm not getting partisan or prejudice or anything, but there's a lot of people that are immigrants that have moved to Santa Ana.
Absolutely.
Right, they wanted to leave that kind of government control.
Absolutely. And here they are. A lot of them are probably living with family members until they get their feet on the ground, that kind of thing.
Which is a typical immigrant way.
Absolutely.
Right? We're a country of immigrants.
And they may or may not be willing to give their contact information up because they don't want to be harassed by anybody.
They don't even want to have a bank account.
Many times that is very much the case. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I used to have an import-export company, and a lot of my people in the warehouse, they came from Mexico. We had papers and everything on every one of them. But the bottom line is they didn't trust the banks because of what they had fled.
Absolutely. And here you've got a situation on top of that where, knowing that they may be living with family members and that kind of thing, they may be outside of the HUD standards for how many people can live in a unit. And the last thing they want to do is give their contact information up and admit that they may be doing this. In a temporary situation like that, this is the problem when councils don't think through the actual implications of the policies they pass, and they just rush things through. And now the city is now trying to put this on the ballot to make it part of the city charter. The same rules that we're running into all these problems with, they're jamming it through because they want to get what they can in.
And the irony is when knowledgeable people, I know I'm out of time, Josh is yelling at me, but the irony is that the votes for city council are all known before the hearings ever start. Right? Every time I've gone to a council meeting or watched them online, they basically know who's voting which way before open discussion. And you come out with open discussion and enlighten them, and half the time they're not even listening.
That can be the case, and it's a problem, but more often than not, at least they should be open to sit down and hear you ahead of time and talk to you. And we are not seeing that in the city of Santa Ana with people like Jesse Lopez.
Well, make your vote heard if you live in that, was it third ward
of
Santa Ana. Make your voice heard. If you like the idea of all this government regulation and tracking you,
You're probably not listening to this
Yeah,
radio show.
probably not listening to me. Absolutely. But I do appreciate you listening, and I ask every day, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.